Broads Media.
Stop me if you heard this before. Joel Embiid was absurd. Anticipating the double team, passing it out to wide open guys, beating the double team before it even came with the jump shot, the dunks. Oh, the list goes on. And we're going to break down this puppy for the next 30 minutes or so. Thank you all so much for joining me for that. Before we go any further, I want to know down below in the comments section, what was your favorite part of this basketball game? I can't wait to hear your thoughts. Real quickly, if you're looking to buy any tickets to go to NBA, NHL, NFL games, you can use the promo code BROADS at SeatGeek's checkout page for $20 off. It's a no-brainer. I'm dangling a $20 bill right in front of your face. Take it from me. Go to SeatGeek, buy yourself some tickets, eliminate all those fees. It's a no-brainer. Promo code BROADS, SeatGeek's checkout. And hey, if you're new to the channel, smash that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button as well. We have so much fun here. Lastly, I swear, I promise, TikTok at Broads Media. Smash the follow button there too. With that being said, enjoy the show. What is going on, everyone? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Broads. Make that 6 straight for the Sixers. Make that 6 straight for Joel Embiid, scoring 30-plus points, 31, 12, and 7 to be exact, and he was just dominating every single damn second of the action. And before you say, Broads, who really gives a damn? Because Greg Popovich didn't even know the players that were on his roster. Here's what I will say about the issue that is not having NBA players on the other side at times. If we're going to be disgusted when they lose to these particular teams, and then we're going to show zero appreciation when they do handle business the way that they do tonight, then what's the purpose of even watching any of these games? Why even invest your time? Why even dissect it? Why even watch if there's zero ways to actually feel decent about the game? Look, I'm not throwing a parade because they beat this quality of a roster, which is really zero quality. They had nothing out there that could compete whatsoever, and Greg Popovich had his hands tied behind his back. Good luck. They were a walking bomb, knowing that they would fail miserably. The San Antonio Spurs, that is. They had no business being on the floor, but we've seen plenty of teams this year so far lose to undermanned squads, especially the Sixers specifically. So seriously, if there's no ways of feeling any sort of joy, what are you doing here? For what it's worth, I watched Joel Embiid hammer the ball down through the rim, 3 times with authority and dominance that blew me away? Are you serious? Where Eubanks knows he's going to get crucified when there was basically isolation ball happening to the right of the basket? And here's Joel Embiid just getting the ball back into his hands. A little of a missed dribble. Picks it up, gathers it, and says, let me go to work. Oh! Kate Scott screams as he's rolling towards the basket with full speed. And then he's dribbling the ball in transition, pushing the floor, being the point center that he is now, apparently. And then he's at the top of the three-point line, and the lane opens up for him. Why the hell not take it and try and break the damn rim off the glass? He was all over the map with aggression tonight, and nobody was stopping him. Podol early on gets into foul trouble. What do you want me to do? I'd be looking both ways and shrugging my shoulders going, what do you possibly want me to do tonight? There is no stopping the N-Beast. We are watching MVP. You know, it seems like every single episode at this point, I sound like a broken record because I talk about the additions that he makes to his game. And while it seems to be something new every time that wows me, you know, it's just more about his passing because he adds more to his repertoire, like Matisse Thybulle underneath the basket, and here he is throwing it behind his head right on the money. And I thought Matisse Thybulle did a lot of excellent things out there in terms of being in the dunker spot and cutting towards the basket at the proper times. Good for Matisse Thybulle. Maybe they found something there that they can really continue to build build off of to make Matisse Thybulle more of a threat. And just, look, that's something that he seems to do well. That seems to be something that they figured out. Maybe they can operate and utilize it more and get him going more, because you saw, look, a two-man game between Seth Curry and Joel Embiid is clearly obvious. You talk about dribble handoffs and getting Seth Curry into the action with not only just the dribble handoff and shooting the basketball and scoring some points, but another game where he rocked another 7 assists. He's seeing the floor very well. Now, granted, look, no Tyrese Maxey, and you don't have a pure point guard or a pure ball handler on this team other than Joel Embiid. But in all seriousness, when Seth Curry, you can hold the fort down with him, and you see him kind of operating in that department. It's pretty ridiculous. 7 rebounds as well to note. So 23, 7, and 7 for Seth. Now, late in the game, I started to get a bit nervous. I saw Seth Curry limp a couple times. I see Joel Embiid slip and his knee gives out and he's hobbling, gets back on defense a little slow. He's not even in frame, and I'm listening to Ala and Kate Scott talking about, what are we doing here? Oh, no, can we please get an update on what's happening on the other side of the floor? But he ended up being okay. Furkan ends up grabbing his wrist, his finger. Actually, I believe it was more of his finger after he took a tumble. So I'm just watching this team kind of start collapsing and falling apart. Oh, let's breathe. Hold on, we're up here. Let's see if we can get out of this alive. Their next tilt is what? Monday against the Houston Rockets, 8 o'clock at night on the road. So a little bit of breathing room here with the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, back at it Monday night. But at the end, I'm starting to get the little, what's that called? A brown paper bag, and doing the heavy breathing concept to see if I could keep myself calm and make sure the anxiety doesn't go too far up. Because let's be realistic. Oh, man, I'm enjoying Joel Embiid way too damn much. It puts a pure smile on my face. See, why this is so much fun and why I'm this entertained and why my emotions are so damn high. Because, yeah, you could talk about, well, the other team stinks and the other team's not great. And there will be no argument in my eyes, right? I'm not coming back at you saying you're wrong for that assessment. No, you're absolutely 1,000% right with that assessment. But here we are talking about someone where it doesn't matter who's on the floor. 6 straight games of 30 plus. This dude is just playing excellent elite basketball and wowing us to death in so many different areas that I don't care. I just don't care, because regardless of who the opponent is, I'm thrilled and I'm enamored to sit there and study what he is doing every single night and what he is capable of doing, and how it's mind-blowing and makes me numb in awe. So I don't care. Of course, it's way more electric when it's the Brooklyn Nets on the road and he's waving Kevin Durant's ass out of the building, right? That always brings it to the next level. But watching Greg Popovich during a little bit of a timeout, actually, I think it was an injury situation, if I remember correctly, but seeing Joel Embiid looking over at Pop and they're communicating a little bit, I don't care who it is. I'm just appreciating the greatness that he is. If he scores less than 30 right now, you chalk it up to, we've seen better. What are you talking about? What? That shows you what level he's playing at. MVP level once again. He has supporting his second running, the second MVP runner-up, with just explosiveness and unbelievableness. So you want me to talk about some of the things he did? I mean, it really starts with the authority and the way that he was hammering down the basketball with such anger and with such a demeanor that you actually rise off of your couch. We're talking, what, game mid-30 of the season, 35, 36, 37, in that range of the NBA season against a team that barely has NBA players, and you're actually being lifted off of your ass because of but multiple times, 3 times, dictating the pace of play. There's nothing sweeter to me than seeing him dribble up the floor while everybody else is getting up as well, getting into their particular areas. And look, I'll say this, the squad as a whole tonight, great ball movement. The ball was flowing. It just looked like they were kicking it around to the right guys, and it was happening with ease. It wasn't stressed. It wasn't forced. There wasn't too much thinking involved where, like, hey, let's make sure we get this thing clean, and everyone was kind of like holding the ball too tightly or overthinking. Just let's go play. Let's have fun. Let's play our brand of basketball. And then, as you know, the ball's moving around. Guys are getting up their shots. Tobias Harris, After their last game, he made such a very professional statement about loving the city. He was being very frustrated with himself. He holds himself to a high standard. No one's going to be harder on him than himself. And he did a very good job in their last outing to respond to the boos that happened. First time on the home floor since. He scored 23 points on 12 field goals. He was 9 of 12. He had 5 assists in there as well and grabbed 7 rebounds. So all around, Tobias Harris just seems more comfortable. And look, we can't forget that this squad, and I know that some guys are new and whatnot, right? Like Niang and guys of that nature. But all around, this organization has been accustomed to playing with Ben Simmons for quite some time as your leader on the floor in terms of running your offensive plays. Losing that and thinking that it doesn't take a bit of time to establish yourself is foolish. And then not only that, Joel Embiid missed a bunch of time early on, and you can see how important he is to the flow of this as he's basically taking over a lot of those possessions and a lot of those moments right now as a 7-foot man, which doesn't make any sense. So there's so much ups and downs and reasons why they were where they were earlier in the season and the frustration started to boil. It just seems like, all right, guys are getting back. Still missing some players and a crucial one as well with Tyrese Maxey. That's a very important player to who they are, but it's not crazy and it's not wild to now see the correlation with the team getting back, Niang, Drummond, having a solidified bench and a solidified set of role players that know their job, know their duties, know what they're supposed to do, and then the team kind of reforming themselves a bit as well. It's just the team's getting back to what they were supposed to be, and who knows how long that's going to last, because as you see around sports in general, teams are just flopping and guys are just flopping and not being available due to COVID and safety protocol. So you just never know how long you're going to have it. So appreciate it while it's staring at you right in front of the face. And you know what? I love Niang. I just think the guy plays with such a personality, right? Like, I feel I've never seen him make a three and not give you one of the most outrageous fist pumps and screams and yells as if he just hit a Game 7 buzzer beater to win the NBA Finals or wins the NCAA March Madness, wins the national championship on a buzzer beater like Chris Jenkins did for Villanova. I swear to God, every shot he makes is the biggest. Every play he makes is the biggest. Every charge he takes is unbelievable. When there's a charge called on him and he thought it would be a block, he's very unhappy and he shows that emotion. And I feel that that's so damn value to just energy with a role player, and that's what their job really is to do. Limited minutes, but make sure those minutes are loud, and he always really does seem to have that type of emphasis on whatever action is happening when he's running up and down the floor. Look, you even had guys like Charlie Brown. That's what all the GIFs were during the time of him getting some run there, and cool story for sure. But how about that? Some contributions from him. Henry scores his first 2 points of his NBA career. You had some guys at the back end of the bench even making the Wells Fargo Center erupt. And you know what? This is why the comments made by Danny Green pisses me off, because it just comes down to, if you perform at the level that you're supposed to perform, we love you here. And that city tonight, the Wells Fargo Center down in South Philadelphia, that place was buzzing. It was electric. I even had people tweeting out at me going, bros, this environment right now is through the roof and crazy. It's almost as if you provide what we're looking for, your effort's there and your execution is there. You get this absurd standing ovation, loud moment, screams, cheers, everyone's excited, and they show their love for you and their appreciation for you, compared to, hey, not on it tonight, not our best night, not executing at the highest rate that we're supposed to execute at, temporary displeasure of boos come down. It's really not rocket science here. And you could just hear from the TV, I heard it from my living room, miles and miles away, of how explosive that building felt. It felt like in years past where the energy was super high around the team. Because we know deep down it's not at the same level as what it once was, because we know that this team is missing something due to everything that's surrounding the ugliness. and the roster, of course, because of one man that's afraid to play the sport of basketball. I love that. I love that phrase. It just flows out my mouth so normally because I've been saying it for so damn long. Now, I don't like that I'm in this position, but it perfectly describes the loser that's unwilling to play the sport of basketball. And you know what? I thought about this the other day. Honestly, imagine, put yourself in his shoes where so we think loves the game of basketball, right? That's your pride. That's your joy. And trust me, I went through 19 years of hockey. From age 4 to 22, I played competitive hockey, structured hockey, legit hockey, right? It was an insane life change. My whole entire identity as a person changed. And I know that's what people say, make sure it doesn't happen. The sport doesn't make you, right? Don't make basketball or hockey or football you. You are you, and that's just a part of your story, but don't make it part of you as a person. And I had a difficult time specifically handling that when that part of my life was over because it's all I ever knew. But here I am, and I think I finally worked myself out of that, but it's an adjustment period. My point is, I couldn't imagine putting myself in that spot where something I love that I know isn't going to be there forever. I have to take advantage of those moments because when it all is gone, it's such a different part of your life and everything changes for sure, and it matters so much to me. Like, he is so far dug into this. I couldn't imagine watching my team play 35, 36, 37 games and just saying, fuck you all. Fuck you all. I don't give a fuck about you. I don't give a shit. It's such a loser way of thinking, and it's embarrassing. And if you honestly feel that, well, really, it's the Sixers' fault for throwing him under the bus, you are a loser too. I honestly mean that. If you feel that his reaction is fair game because of the surround. No, you know what the right way to do, the right way to handle things is and the right thing to do? Did you see Tobias Harris in that presser? That's the right thing to do. That's the right thing to do. Whether he means everything or not, and I genuinely do believe that he does believe what he said. He doesn't seem to have a fake bone in his body and just spew bullshit out of him. I think he had some conversation with his coaches, whether it was a Dan Burke and then some Doc Rivers dialogue about everything that happened, self-assessed, realized that wasn't me, and came out and said what he truly felt. That's the way you handle things when it gets ugly, instead of running away and crying about it in the corner and not living up to the moment. But I think I spent too much time on Ben Simmons. I didn't expect to really go anytime, although there's all sorts of rumors at this point. The Atlanta Hawks could be a team that's willing to be in the mix now, and then that Jason Dumas bum that told the world that there would be thousands of people lined up. Maybe that's not right to say thousands, but people were going to be lined up at the Camden facility to really ridicule Ben Simmons at the start of training camp. Wrong! Then he said that Tyrese Maxey was going to cancel all sort of events in the city of Philadelphia. Wrong! So what I know is his inside and his sources is Clutch Sports and Rich Paul trying to spew out some sort of nonsense to the public to make it public perception is going in one area, right? That's what they wanted to do. They want public perception to believe that this is how it's happening, this is what's going on, when it's all crap, all nonsense, and not real whatsoever. Well, that same Jason Dumas reported that, Daryl Morey is willing to, it really was a story of nothingness, to be fair, but I guess the right thing to do at this point is to fully bring it up so we actually can read it verbatim here. And let's see, let me scroll through because I did quote tweet it. Yeah, okay. So he said, there's nothing imminent, but that... Oh, hold on, sorry. That's the reply tweet. Source, Daryl Morey has broadened his scope for potential trade targets as he looks to trade Ben Simmons. He had been adamant on only trading Ben for a select few players. I'm told there's now a list of 25 guys who he'd accept straight up or in a package. That's really not new news. You're not reporting anything new whatsoever. That's honestly been common knowledge for a bit of time now, that there's a list of 20 players or so that would be in the conversation. That's nothing to me. Didn't we already kind of know whether it's in a package, some players straight up, others would have to be a whole pieces of of a package together. You compile some pieces up to put them in a package. So that's really not new whatsoever. He then replies to that, there is nothing imminent. Okay, so then you're basically backing up what I just stated. But that people should buckle in and this could go on for years mindset is long gone. Well, hey, Jason, it was never real. It was never a 4-year, I'm going to make sure this lasts 4 years. Everyone knew that that was just a statement publicly to make sure that you knew we're not backing down. Saying that on 97.5 The Fanatic to Mike Missinelli when Daryl Morey went on those airwaves, that was nothing other than making sure that Rich Paul, Clutch Sports, Ben Simmons, and anybody else involved heard those words to apply pressure and to make sure they knew that, look, this ain't going to be easy. You think you're going to have it one way. It ain't going to be that way because we need to get the players and the people back in return to help out this franchise for the long run the right way. And if that costs us in the short term for the long-term gain, we're willing to play that game. So make sure you buckle up. So here comes the Rich Paul and Clutch Sports trying to get all cute, said, oh yeah, we're Daryl Morey and what he said in the past. That mindset is long gone. Oh, shut up, you loser. He continues on and says, Joel Embiid has not put any added pressure on the front office to get a deal done. He just wants a guy who's willing to embrace Philly and has a desire to be there. Well, I mean, I got to take this all for what it is and knowing that this guy's a bum and he's a loser and he's a bad reporter. So I'm just saying that for what it is. He has an agenda big time. He doesn't tell the story like it is. He tells the story for his one side so he can keep his connection the way that it is right now. So with that said, if the Joel Embiid part is true, which is Joel Embiid's not going in there and demanding stuff, do you know why? It's because he knows that what is best for this organization is what I've been stressing, which is you don't just get some random piece and say, hey, it's better than having $30 million on the bench. No, he's not demanding it because he knows if this is true. And once again, take it for a grain of salt because you never really know. But with Joel Embiid, if that is true and if that is the case, and I'm not picking and choosing what I want to believe, I don't trust this guy fully, but we do understand that when he is leaking information, it has Rich Paul and Clutch Sports written all over it. So maybe this is a stunt to make it seem like for other teams around the league, hold on, more guys are checking in. Hold on, Atlanta's checking in. Hold on, this is happening, that's happening. Joel's not demanding a trade. Hold on, 25 players? Even though that's not anything breaking news. Maybe it's just to put things out there in the social media world that influence some spark along the name Ben Simmons because it's been a bit dry as of late. But Mark Stein has also been on the record mentioning that the Sixers would potentially like to keep him and have him back, and they're still willing to put him back on the floor with this team. But once again, that could also be leaked information from the other side, knowing that that has been something that Doc and Daryl Morey has been very vocal about for a long period of time now. Whether it's to play the game or there's legitimacy to it, it's probably a combination of both in my eyes, but that's kind of where we stand as of right now. Not that I expected to go down a Ben Simmons type of dialogue for that long, but I'm kind of mad at myself. As you can see, putting my hands above my head. I don't know if I love that I did that, but I can't deny that the flow just kind of took me in that direction. I'll tell you what should be taking you in a certain direction. Your car. Where should your car take you? DeSimone Jewelers. They are my jewelers, and they will be yours too. Wait until you see how fantastic their jewelry is, and not only that, their prices are the best in the market. They work with you to make sure that, and they also make sure that the design is A+ and all a chef's kiss. I actually had one of my buddies go to a different spot for his engagement ring, and then when he saw what I got for Kara and then heard the price as well, he said, holy shit, went back to the original spot, returned it, and went to DeSimone Jewelers, because you are part of their family as soon as you walk into the door. You're not just a customer where they're trying to make a quick buck to keep their lights on. No. They really have passion, and they care, and they want to educate you about the piece that you are buying to the point where you feel a connection with not only Mike, Lou, Nick, and Will, the owners there and the part of the crew over at DeSimone Jewelers, but it's also about the connection with the piece that you are purchasing for your significant other or your family member. They provide custom jewelry design, jewelry repairs, appraisals, watch repairs, diamond setting, jewelry cleaning, and more. They're a family-owned business located in Haddonfield, New Jersey. They were previously in Jewelers Row, so make sure you check out their website down below, DeSimoneJewelers.com, and if you tell them that Brode sent you, they'll absolutely hook you up. I had a couple people reach out to me on social media and said, Brodes, you're right on the money with them. I said, I know. That's why every holiday, hey, Deezy, what's happening, bro? Brodes, what's going on? It's nonstop. You got to spoil the fiance. There's no other place to do it than at DeSimone Jewelers. DeSimoneJewelers.com. All right, let's go to the Anytime Hotline here. We're going to go with the text message route today. Bunch of text messages came in. Of course, you can call in at 856-442-9805. It's a 24/7 hotline number that you can call in, leave your reaction that we play on the show. You could also text it as well, and there were a bunch of text messages coming in, so I just kind of pick and choose whatever the day wherever the day brings me on that specific podcast recording. And we'll go with some text messages here. So Connor texts in and says, do you feel the Sixers are really turning the season around right now, or is it a product of COVID rosters? I think it's a combination of both, right? I can't be naive and just pretend that the teams that they are playing are definitely annihilated and they don't have their purest form out there. But at the same time, I also see a team that is just figuring themselves out a bit more. And Joel Embiid has clearly taken such a big step in the right direction. And something to really note as well, there's been so much debate and dialogue about his pace of play in his career and how hunched over he is, and he doesn't look in shape, and his body's not right, and he always seems to get fatigued so early on, and then it seems to, over a 48-minute span, kind of dwindle down, and you don't see him keep up that style of play. When was the last time it stood out to you to that level? Once in a while, maybe you do see him with his hands on his knees or whatnot, but he's also a 7-foot individual running as many miles. I remember looking back over the years at the statistical data of how many miles this guy has actually put on his body with the way that he transitions up and down, and it is actually wild. But honestly, the way that he has handled his body from nutrition, and even though I think he had a Shirley Temple on the table the other day during one of the interviews he was on, unless I was dreaming that and I had some sort of crazy dream where I'm dreaming about Joel Embiid drinking Shirley Temples, but I don't think that's the case. The way that he's prepared his body, the way that he is now conditioned, and that's after even fighting through COVID and actually going through symptomatic phases where he felt the pain and was actually really going through it a ton. So there's a lot, right? There's a lot, but I think that with this team, to answer your question, Connor, and kind of to go back to it, I think it's a combination of the product of who they're playing, but they're also handling their business, and I can't pretend that I can't give them some golf claps for doing that, because we've already seen in weeks past it go in the other direction, and we've seen the alternative throughout about a week and a half span, and it was super ugly, and we were pissed off. And then, I think they're finding their identity a bit more as well. Okay, let's go to Michael. Hey, Brodes, I love everything that you do, and I listen every day. Thanks, Michael. I appreciate that. Is Joel Embiid appreciated enough nationally? Wow, that's a good question, Michael. Thanks so much for texting in. Is he appreciated enough nationally? Yeah, I think so. I do think so. And I think what he's doing now is gaining more traction. Now you're talking six straight games of 30-plus points. More and more it's continuing to happen. But, I mean, look, the guy was second in the MVP last year. When you're that great and you're a coin flip away from bringing home the hardware, and I love the fact, too, whether it's fair or not, and I'm not saying if he was a guard putting up similar numbers, it would be any different. But the fact that he's a center, and because of where the league is now and how sexy that is, because it's so unique, also adds value to it too. So to answer your question, is he getting appreciated enough nationally? Yeah, I believe so. I do. I definitely believe so. I think talking heads speak about him. Now, I'm not going to act as if I sit down and watch ESPN, First Take, anything Fox Sports related enough to fully digest every single sort of segment that they have throughout the NBA and their full discussion points from a Monday through Friday basis, because I don't. But just my understanding of national attention of Joel Embiid, I think that it's fine. There's nothing that rubs me the wrong way about it. And I think if this just continues and it's nonstop, this type of dominance, which I would expect it to be because the signs are just showing that. Now, is he going to put up 30 plus every single game? Probably not, but just over a larger period of window, if this electricity and this takeover factor and the passes, like that pass is going to probably be on SportsCenter top 10, right? And those dunks are going to be on SportsCenter top 10. So the more and more plays that he's making, well then, yeah, it's just naturally going to kind of take it in that direction, and they're going to be forced to bring up his name. So yeah, I think it's fine. Could it be more? Maybe it could be more, and maybe it will be. But I don't think it's at a disrespectful rate by any means, or the lack thereof. Maybe it becomes more, though, as the season progresses. And another one here is Tanner. What's up, bros? How are you, Tanner? You really can't answer me right now because this is pre-recorded, so I don't know why I asked. But thanks, Tanner, for texting in. I hated every shot Danny Green made tonight. Oh, that's funny. That's a good point. I mean, I hate to bring it up, but there is a part of me watching him play. And I don't know if you saw the news, but apparently they changed one of the plays that happened against. Why am I having a brain fart on who they just played last? I do this all the time. There's so many damn games. Orlando, the game in Orlando, to not be a Snell game anymore. Apparently they added something to the box score to put him on the stat sheet. Maybe it was a steal because there was some miscommunication there by Orlando, and they ended up picking up the basketball. But I digress. He's a hate to face to me right now, and I can't deny that when he makes a bucket or he had the block and then he threw the ball out in transition for Brown to have the and one, I don't like his face. I think his agenda is poor. It's a us versus them mentality, and that's not the way sports should be handled in a city, and it's because of him. And he did the same thing last year with Ben Simmons and saying that the fans. The guy's just a flat-out fraud, and I can't stand him. Now, I want the Sixers to win, so obviously him performing puts a smile on my face because that means the Sixers are performing at a higher clip. But if I'm going to be honest with you, Tanner, there is this element that I can't just pretend isn't there. When I see him do something good, I'm like, oh, I don't like him. I don't like him at all. And that's just reality of the situation. I want to thank all you guys as we close things out here. I want to thank all of you so much for hanging out with me today, for listening to this episode of Sports Talk with Bros. I'm having a ton of fun as of late. Not that I never had fun. I've always had fun. It's always been a blast. It's always been highly entertaining hanging out with all of you in the comment section after the episodes and all. But I just want to thank you and make sure that you understand my appreciation is through the roof for every single one of you that tune in. I want to thank you guys so much once again, and I will see you next time.